Our solicitor asked, can we have a quorum? I said, yep. It's really a mashing.
Just barely, right?
That makes sense. Because it's not.
Rick looks very infectious. I don't know how Scott's affected so far.
I don't know either. I don't even like things that happen. You don't have to, this is America. I get
Right spray over.
I did.
Tony said everything in the suite is wet from Lysol, right?
Well, I did, I feel like if you feel wet neutral.
Did you get this turn?
You never know these days what it is. I'm like, yeah, just be cautious when you're touching stuff's wet. That's what I told them. Did you guys all have that too?
I had a real grief for 2 days ago.
Did you?
Sometimes the quorum nowadays.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
Morning, please stand. Dear Lord, please instruct us and teach us in the way that we should proceed in this meeting. Please counsel us with your loving eye on us. Let our aims in this meeting be aligned with your direction. Let our plans be orchestrated by you. Father, let your will be done in this meeting so this can be a meeting that's based upon your desires for us. Lord, we remember Dr. Martin Luther King this weekend. We remember his teachings and strive to incorporate them into our values. We unite behind efforts that foster racial, cultural, and community harmony. We ask you these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Commissioner Marabito's not with us. He's not feeling well today, and we hope that he is watching us live stream since he was a big supporter. And he is. Hello, Commissioner. And Kathy is going to proceed with our agenda today since Eileen's not here.
Okay. First item 2.0, Employee Service Awards, we have none.
Yes. One moment. We have to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Oh, thank you.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Okay. At this time, do we have any public comments on agenda items only? Mr. Lauer?
Yes, sir. Step to the podium.
Yes, please. State your name and where you live.
Morning, Commissioners. Todd Lauer, Jersey Shore. I'd like to comment on Personnel Action 4.12. District Attorney, new position, part-time Assistant County Detective. I think this is a good move. I know you're probably finding it hard that I agree with something, but, and the reason I say that is because our new District Attorney, he's only been in office 1 week and he's already lived up to his political promises, and he saved the county $180,000 already by eliminating 3 positions. Now, if you pass this, so I guess the point I want to make is this man has the most critical job in Lycoming County. All the decisions that he makes is what makes all this flow. Because if he doesn't approve any charges. A lot of people here are gonna be going home. So his decisions are critical, and if he feels that his office, that he needs to realign his office and dismiss and lower the head count, you know, then I think that's right, and I think that some of these other department heads in the county need to take action like Mr. Gardner did, reevaluate your departments and make some head count reductions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment regarding agenda items only? Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So then, item 2.0, employee service awards, we have none. 3.0, the TDA actions, there are none. So the next on the agenda is 4.0, personnel actions.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Roxanne Rico.
Morning, Roxanne.
Moving to 4.1.1, in the Department of Public Safety and EMA, Nicole West is a full-time replacement. As an EMA,
I don't think
it says don't touch it, so. There's a note here that says, do not touch the microphone.
Might zap you.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yep.
I'll speak a little loud. It said don't touch it.
Jerry's allowed.
Jerry's allowed, okay.
Jerry's no.
Is that better?
No.
I'll speak a little louder, okay? In the Department of Public Safety, EMA, Nicole West, as a full-time replacement, EMA Administrative Assistant, pay grade 6, $16.59 hourly, and this is effective January 27, 2020. In the District Attorney's Office, a new position as a part-time Assistant County Detective, not to exceed 1,000 hours annually. Pay grade DAD, $23.09 an hour, effective January 21st, 2020. And finally, in the District Attorney's Office, a new position as a part-time Assistant County Detective, not to exceed 1,000 hours annually. Pay grade DAD, $23.09 an hour, effective January 21st, 2020.
Any comments on personnel actions? None, have a motion to accept them?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agenda item is 5.0, salary board actions, there are none. 6.0, reports, information items. Jason Yorks.
Morning, Jason.
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioners, we will be going out to bid for our annual bid on rental equipment. As I explained Tuesday, this will include any and everything that we could possibly want or need to rent for our services to work at the facility or whatever for RMS for 2020. Also, we'll be going out to bid for the Great Township Municipal Authority leachate force main. Again, this was a project that's been about 2 years in the making and will help split our flow of leachate capacity. We should be able to get around 55,000 gallons a day to Great Township then, and that'll help alleviate the need to truck leachate.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, next agenda item is 7.0, action items. Maya Toon, 7.1.
Morning, Maya.
Good morning, Commissioners. I apologize, this was a last-minute agenda item, wasn't on for Tuesday, but there is a need as the director is out. We are requesting that I be the certifying officer for all environmental reviews associated with the HUD programming, specifically through CDBG programs and HUD and home. But a history too, it's not only because the director's out, but prior, what would happen, we didn't have a designated person that actually took care of CDBG, so it was always the chief clerk. However, now that I'm in the role that I am, and I take care of all those type of funding sources, it was recommended by CEDACOG that I actually be the certifying officer, since I am technically responsible for those funding sources.
Any comments? Yeah, I think it's important that we have the backup that we,
Is $15,146.25. It is part of the 2020 Information Services budget, and this service Basically provides email filtering and email security for all the county.
Any comment on the action item? Motion to accept it?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Jerry.
7.3, Scott Conkle.
Morning, Scott.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm here to renew a contract with Cova Corporation for $54,933 for a 3-year contract. They are our maintenance provider for our Barrett audio log system, which records all our 911 calls and all our radio transmissions. There's no increase here over the last 3-year contract.
Good. Any comments to, regarding the agreement with KOBA Corporation? If not, I have a motion to accept it.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Commissioners.
The next agenda item would be 8, Board of Assessment revisions. There are none. 9, Commissioner comment.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. This week, CCAP, the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, brought out our 5 top priorities to our state legislature. Obviously, when we go in to explain that to a number of the representatives there, some of the issues are funding, of course. And their response is the state has no money. And that's nice, but how does that affect county government? And I'll give you an example. One of our top priorities is the funding of our adult probation office. And as you're aware of, the adult probation office does many more things than just monitor. Okay, example, they're involved in how we set up our strategic planning on dealing with drugs, mental illness. And the state was responsible for 80% of their pay, and the county taxpayers were supposed to pay 20%. That's no longer like that. They give us 26%.
26%.
26%, and the counties must pay 74%. Another good example of an unfunded mandate is that when our sheriff has to put on deputies, they're required to go to school, which is Act 120. And at that time, they would pay for that education and training or reimburse the counties. I don't believe we've been reimbursed for 2 years now. And it's a significant amount of money that they mandate us to do. Now they're telling us we have to pay for it. And I can give you many more examples, but that's one of our main concerns at the county level, is how do we fund these mandates by the state and federal governments. I would like to sit down with the editors of the paper to discuss what is on our agenda, not only as a county government, but as an association and a national association, because these issues are not going away. And we certainly not only need the media to help us say what needs to be done, but we also need public participation, because inevitably they're going to affect your lives and they're going to affect your pocketbooks. And we need that input from the public to help us guide and tell our legislators who make these rules what they should be looking for. So in the legislation.
I can give another example. Commissioner Massari talked about the adult probation office funding. Our adult probation office, along with the ones across the state, are required to do DNA intake for the state. What that is they do DNA swabs, and then they have to have the offender fingerprinted. We do the fingerprints within the office. The state charges $250 for that to be done. They've increased it now to $300, and it takes the probation office about 1 hour to do each individual. Now, that's on all felony cases. They've now changed it to all felony cases plus misdemeanor 1 cases. The county receives no money back for our services. All that money that is charged at $300 per client goes directly to the state. Yet our employees are doing the work and sending it out. So there's another example, and that's manpower hours that we are required to do, and it's state mandated. So that's another example.
Okay, item agenda 10.0, public comment.
Flower. Oh,
This
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
on the agenda, so I had to wait till the end. Excuse me, Sheriff. Thank you. Todd Lauer again, Jersey Shore. All right, I'm going to comment on a decision that Judge Lavecchio made here 2 weeks ago, and it does affect the county budget. Okay, there was a Trooper Thompson. He made a Terry stop. Okay, I don't know if you know what that is, just frisk for weapons, that's it. Well, he went above and beyond the Terry stop and found some evidence, so he violated this man's Fourth Amendment rights, blah, blah, and all that. Well, he went to court and Judge Lavecchio tossed him. So the point I want to make is, now here's a state trooper. Gets $70,000 a year out of the academy. He's supposed to be professionally trained and know his job. So what this man did is he went out there, he didn't do his job correctly, he didn't follow the law, and he cost taxpayers money. Because he had to prosecute, we had to go to a hearing with the magistrate, we had to go through all this, and it would have been charged to this guy if he would have been found guilty, but since he wasn't, now it's all back on the county. So I just want to make I'm kind of defending Judge Lavecchio here on this also, because I heard some negative comments about it. But this man did his job. He followed the Constitution. The state trooper is the one who made the mistake and cost the taxpayers of Lycoming County tens of thousands of dollars, and we lost a criminal case because he did not do his job correctly. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Lauer. Any other public comment?
Good morning.
Morning, Sheriff.
Sometimes we lose cases because we lose cases. It isn't always because we don't do our job. The men and women in blue work extremely hard out here. And it's nice when, on occasion, we get a positive comment with the risks that we take every single day. That's not my primary reason to speak. I wanted to follow up on the failure of the state to reimburse the counties. Commissioner Mercer's been working on this, and I'm going to get some current data for you, Commissioner, regarding the reimbursement of the deputy training. PCCD is the conduit by which we get our funding for training for our deputies. I have one deputy in the academy right now.
Can you tell them what PCC?
Okay, PCCD is the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. They oversee many funding components, including some out of APO, the court system, deputy sheriff training, constable training. That is the successor of what used to be, and Solicitor Smith will remember this because he and I are older, the Governor's Justice Commission. Am I correct? So they provide our funding. It's always interesting when the laws are written that they write into these laws that we get reimbursed. You know, we've talked about the DA's reimbursement, talked about APO's reimbursement or a lack of reimbursement. They always seem to put the caveat in these statutes that they owe us the money, but there's no way to collect it. How do you go to Harrisburg and collect it? We lost our funding out of the PCCD fund that we have. Our funding for training comes out of the monies that folks pay for civil service. If Solicitor Smith has a client, not on the county side, but on his practice out of McCormick, and he files a civil service, he has to file, and he'll tell you, he has to file a preset fee under the sheriff's fee bill, and he has to pay the sheriff's office to provide that service, and that funding goes to the county general fund. Part of that goes to general fund, but part of that goes to PCCD for the training fund. Some years ago, and I will say it wasn't the current governor, a previous governor went into that fund that was not encumbered and was able to pull about $7 to $8 million out of that fund. And that fund, wherever they could find, they were looking for funding. They were looking for monies because the budget was about an $8 billion deficit, if you recall. They took about $7 to $8 million out of our fund. That put us in a very bad situation with respect to being able to pay our bills. And slowly, the fund has been depleted to the point where within the next year, there'll be no more funding for deputy training. What's more critical is there'll be no more deputy training, because Penn State and Temple and the higher education institutions who provide the training, they ain't doing it free. And when I was president of the PSA last year, I pressed them and I asked that question in a very direct meeting. When I said, we get an IOU, Penn State, you're gonna get an IOU. And of course the answer was, that's above my pay grade, I can't answer that. The answer to that is they aren't gonna do the training. I have a deputy in the academy right now. Deputy Whipple left a week ago. Actually, she left Monday. She'll be there 19 weeks. We would have gotten a very regular payment of $15,000 back to this county for her training, for tuition, for lodging, for food, and all of her wages and mileage. We still get that, but they're allowed to give us an IOU because it doesn't say shall pay within a prescribed period of time. It says may defer until payment is available. So what we've lost in the past 4 years, I'm thinking 4 years approximately, PCCD system owes us about $150,000 to $200,000. It's a perfect example of how we get these mandates from the state and we don't get reimbursed. And that reimbursement was so important because that came back into the county general fund. So I just wanted to echo your concerns about how they do so much there at times, and what do we get out of it? We get nothing. We don't get reimbursements. I can't imagine if we had all the reimbursements that were owed by the state from every part of government at the county level, how much easier, how much better our budget would look as far as the revenue side.
I don't mean to ask questions over public comment, but does the state receive anything to go towards that education?
The state still gets, here's what's interesting, the state still gets the fee. The fees that you would pay to file in my office, the state still gets their money. They get their money every single day. We have to send in by a specific deadline those monies to the state. They get the funding from all across the state, all 67 sheriffs. They just aren't paying any of us. I think the total bill is around $2 to $3.5 million right now. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you for your comments and Mr. Lauer's comments. Being an officer is a very dangerous job. They make split-second decisions. We support them. Every profession, every walk of life, you make mistakes. And they have a very dangerous position. We support them. We pray for them daily for their safety. So, again, thank you for your comments. Any other public comment at this time? Okay. If none, our next scheduled meeting will be Tuesday, January 21st of 2020 at 10 a.m. Thank everyone for being here, and we're adjourned.